I said maybe with all my football coaches, most of these football coaches on the website, they may obviously they know who I am, but after we released our schedules for the next 2 years, I may not want them to see me anyway for the most part. So I'm glad Coach Clevenger is smiling anyway. I hope that's a good smile and not a facetious one at me. So
it's all good. I'm sure you were busy the last day, but mine's all good.
Good.
Does Iowa have any kind of a spring activity for high school football?
I'll be careful. You're going to get me in trouble here with these guys. So no, we do not have anything for outside of our season. So they have contact with them basically beginning. All of our coaches work with our kids starting from June 1st during the summertime until the first day of fall practice. So they can, voluntarily workouts all summer long. And then they get their kids then first day of practice is August 9th,
Okay.
and they get them until the last day of our postseason, which is the weekend before Thanksgiving. And then after that, they cannot have any contact with them. I mean, they can, have open fields where they can go out and, watch them work out and watch them do things, but they cannot do any coaching in the off season. So and that's for all of our sports. So a little bit different. No spring ball, no 15 or 20 days, anything like that in the spring that we have here. So
okay, yeah, I was surprised 30 years ago when I moved to Florida that they had full contact and then a game in the spring that didn't count, but it was a little rough as a coach, especially as a freshman coach. I got thrown up as like the fourth string quarterbacks coach on the varsity.
I understand. Yes.
We'll get started here. I'll respect time. It's 8:31. Feel free to ask any questions. And I'll try to point out the differences between Huddle and Quick Cut. The main one is price. I will send all of you our pricing and some of the flyers, but we start at $450, and that gets you 100 hours and the playbook, versus Huddle's basic is $900 without the playbook. We don't charge like Huddle does when it comes to storage. So a school can purchase as much as they want or as little as they want, as little as 100 hours. Every one of our varsity sports comes with 100 hours of storage. If you need more, it's $100 for every 100 hours of storage. So as you take a look at the football platform that we have before us, you'll see it's very similar in look and feel to Huddle. With the telestrations listed down below in the center, your playing functions here also connected to the keyboard so that you can use your up and down arrows, your left and right arrows. And as you break down the game, all your stats will appear in the upper left-hand corner. So you've got all those similarities. If you have used Huddle Assist in the past, we have quick stats. And the difference between us and Huddle is that we also offer an advanced breakdown. The basic breakdown is similar to Huddle's, where you get 16 columns of data. Our advanced breakdown gives you over 50 columns of data. And so we'll break down all of your individual stats and your team stats in that advanced breakdown. We also offer that in 12 hours and 24-hour turnaround times. You can also do your own stats. We've built in a button which is different than Huddle, a stat entry button on the upper right-hand corner. And as soon as you select the play type, all of the stats will filter on that particular play type. And as you populate the blanks here on the right-hand side, they will fill in down on the spreadsheet here below. So those of you who have broke down a football game know that you have to skip over a bunch of columns depending on the play type. With placing the stat entry on the far right-hand side, you don't have to skip over any rows, and you can get it done much quicker. Another big difference between us and Huddle is our player grading system. And so our player grading system allows, I'm going to go back and show you an offensive play here. Go to player grading. And so most schools are putting them in a spreadsheet, their player grading, or they're keeping them in an Excel file. We've moved everything into the platform, giving the head coach all of the administrative rights to set your depth chart, your starters, your grading system, if you want to use letter grades, number grades, or just a plus and minus. And I'm going to show you that quickly, that administrative. So you get to set who's going to grade which players. If you've got a big staff and you've got your offensive line coach, maybe your offensive coordinator, you would set those two individuals to grade those players. This way, your linebackers coach is not going to be confused in grading your offensive line. So you're able to set a starting lineup for all of these different play types. You can put in your first string, your second string, so you've got your depth chart. Your kids can see that depth chart. If you've got different packages on offense or on defense, you can set those packages. And then as soon as you click to that package, that personnel will show up, so that as you're going through a game, let me go open one up again, and we'll jump to an offensive play. That's the only one I've got listed here. So as I select that, I can go in and I can add comments, player notes. So the coaches that are assigned to those players are the only ones that can write those player notes. So that player can only see his notes. So they can't see the grades or the notes of anybody else on that play. And so it just makes it really efficient to do the player grading. We also have a section for coaches' notes. So the coaches, all of the coaches can write notes on a particular play. You can hide them from the team, but every athlete would be able to see those coaches' notes. Some big differences. When it comes to reports, you're able to do custom reports. And as long as you have data in those columns, if you're doing it yourself or you're having us do it, you can run a report on any part of the game. You can zero in on any detail of the game. So you type in the name of the report that you're looking for, and then you choose the columns that you want to run a report on. Whether it's self-evaluation of your team or if it's scout, you have the choice of creating whatever reports you want. We have some default reports listed here on the right-hand side, which is very similar to what Huddle offers. So this covers the My Video tab, which is, like I said, very similar, but also has some differences. The My Team tab, this is where you're going to add your roster. And we have some differences here. If you wanted to check on your players or on your coaches to see if they're logging in, Huddle only offers a time of how long they've logged in. So an athlete could log in, go play video games for an hour, and then come back, log out, and you'd have no idea if he was actually looking at game film or not. So we've upped the bar a little bit here. You as a coach will be able to see how many clips they've looked at. And what we're building into this is the ability to look at scout film. Are they looking at scout film? Are they looking at their own game film? Are they looking at the playbook? And so you can click here and you can get a summary of the season, and then you can see what they've viewed that last week. We have a messaging tool, just like Huddle, so you can message individual athletes. You can also message the entire group. If you want to add your own stats, we've got a system here where we've listed all of our default stats, and you can change the order of those columns just by grabbing that and moving it in whatever order that you want. But you can also add your own particular stats. So if you're a position coach or just you're a head coach and you want a stat to keep track of, you can title it. You can tell it what you want to keep track of. It's a text, number, jersey, true or false. Is it associated with the play type? And boom, you can add that as a stat. Here's another item that's different than what Huddle offers. We've added a media library. I had the opportunity to play high school football and basketball, and I was also privileged to play at a small college and was able to play football and basketball. Some of the most memorable times are happening when a camera's never rolling. And so we built in a media library where you can add all of the pictures, You can add video clips easily with a phone, whether it's the bus ride over to the big game, a team dinner, a team meeting, or whatever might be captured by the assistant coaches. All of those can be added to the media library. The athletes can tag themselves in those photos. They can use them in their highlights, and then they can also post them on our social media platform. So the nice thing about our platform is the athletes can have access to their media library, to their game footage, and to their highlights for the rest of their lives. When you graduate from high school, you've got two options in Huddle. You can remove them, or you can put them in a area where they do not have access to their game footage or their highlights anymore. So I felt it was important. Usually kids when they're 19 or 20 years old don't care, but when they get a little bit older, start having kids, they want to have access to their footage. And those of you who are coaching probably have gotten those requests from guys that have been out for a while. Hey, can I get access to my game footage? We do that. It's $4.95 for the year. And they can always have access to that game footage, to the media library, and to their highlights. So that's our media library, very different. I'm going to jump into the My Fans tab. I don't know if Pixelot has inundated your market as it has in Florida and other states, but we have the ability to stream through the mobile app. So if you've got a device in your stadium or in your gym, that works great for your home games, but then you still need a solution for your away games. And through our mobile app, you can do pay-per-view, and we give back an industry-leading 65% of the revenue generated. So on our fan page, you have the ability to set the price for a game, and you have the ability to set the price for a season pass. And then you'll see this number grow week after week. And at the end of the season, you call us up and say, hey, there's $4,000 sitting there. Please send us a check for the $4,000. And it's all done through the mobile app. So you get to see, everything's transparent. You get to see how many people logged in and paid for your game. You get to see how many people took advantage of the season pass. Every one of your athletes has this add fans button, and they can go in and add moms, dads, grandmas and grandpas, aunts and uncles, and whoever else might be interested in watching your game. I always tell coaches, there are people that can't get to your games for whatever reason that would pay money to watch their nephew play, their son play, their grandson play. And so if you're not offering some kind of streaming, you're leaving money on the table. And especially where it's been difficult to do fundraising for the last year and a half, this can serve as a great fundraiser for you. We had teams that were doing anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 throughout the year this last year with using our streaming services. Our playbook is very similar to Huddle's, and we will actually transfer your playbook for you. It's a $50 service. You download your playbook, send it to us in a PDF. And if you have 500 or less plays, it's $50. Anything over 500 plays, it's $100. We will transfer all of your film from past seasons at no cost. We do that as a courtesy. It will take you less than 5 minutes to download the games, send them to us, and then we will put them into Quick Cut for you. I'm going to jump back to the My Video tab, and I'm going to answer the first question that every coach asks us. Can you change or exchange film with Huddle users? And the answer is yes. We've built in this Huddle Import button. We even made it orange for those people who get homesick. So the way it works is you download the game from Quick Cut. It will come to your email as a link, and you forward on that email to your upcoming opponent who happens to be a Huddle user. They're going to do the exact same thing. They're going to download the game from Huddle, and they're going to forward you that email with the link in it. What you can do is go into your game, and you can click Import from Huddle. All you need to do is copy and paste the URL and hit submit, and the game will be in your account in about 60 seconds. This is done in the cloud, so it has nothing to do with your internet speed, and it has nothing to do with the age of your computer. You can even do it on your phone. So it's simple, it's easy, and it's the number one question I get asked. It's the number one reservation or hesitation by coaches is, how do I exchange? We've also built in an exchange video button up here on the right-hand side. And you can see this is exactly identical to Huddle. You can do a one-way exchange with a Huddle user or a Quick Cut user. You can only do a two-way exchange with Quick Cut users. And then you can also request video from either a Huddle user or a Quick Cut user. And so exchanging film is extremely easy. We've got video tutorials for those who are still using Huddle. The guys on the Huddle end will have one extra step because they're going to have to download the game and then upload it to Huddle. The second most asked question from coaches is, can my players build highlights? And the answer is yes. And so I can go in and create a new highlight. I get access to all of my game footage. I get access to a music library. I create a title slide. I also have access to the media library. I have a background in TV productions. And so I've been editing for the last, I guess, 20 years. And so we built our highlight editor to be extremely easy, extremely intuitive, and it's a timeline where they can build it themselves extremely easy. We've added more features than what Huddle offers in their highlight editor, so the kids can really have some nice looking highlights. Though that is the 25-cent tour of our football platform. I'm going to open it up to questions, see what you guys have to say. We can save your football programs a whole bunch of money. We're going to be at least 50% less on our platform. And for those programs that have storage, the 500 hours of storage with Huddle is $3,300. That's $850 with us. If you know anything about storage, storage is dirt cheap. If you go get a new phone, they're going to upsell you more storage, and they're going to charge you $100 for something that costs them about a dime. And so storage is dirt cheap. We're turning that savings back over to coaches. We're actually running a promotion during the month of May. We're doubling your storage. So you pay that $450, you're going to get 200 hours of storage. All of our other sports are $300, and we double your storage, so you'll have 200 hours. And it's not just for 1 year, it's for the life of using Quick Cut. So down the road, you'll always have 200 hours and be paying the lowest price.
I had several questions for you.
Okay.
First,
Todd, this is Paul Patterson. He's head coach at Norwalk, and he's the president of the Football Coaches Association.
Okay.
Number one, can you talk to me about Huddle and Sideline, Assist, and all of the different programs that they offer, and then also Focus?
Yep. All right. First of all, Sideline Replay. We've partnered with a company called SportScope.
Okay.
If you are doing a 2-camera sideline replay, by switching over to SportScope, we're going to save you $3,000 over a 5-year period. With the Huddle equipment, you lease that every year. A 2-camera sideline replay is going to cost you $1,500 a year every year. With SportScope, you pay $2,600 the first year, and every year after that is $499. You're getting better equipment and better technology. You're going to own the equipment. And that's why it's a little bit more that first year and only $499 the second and third year. You can actually tag your plays, not just ODK, but you can actually tag, mark favorites. You can draw on the video. You have a lot more functionality with SportScope. Huddle offers a Huddle Assist service where they'll break down your games. They only offer a basic breakdown, which is 16 columns of data. We offer that exact same package, but we also offer an advanced package. We'll tag over 50 columns of data.
Can you talk specifically about Huddle limits the number of games you can send to them for assist?
Yeah, we have 3 a day or 10 a week.
Okay.
With our package.
And then how about, let's say Norwalk has purchased a Huddle Focus.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work with Quick Cut?
First of all, Huddle Focus will not work with anything but Huddle.
Okay. Well, that's simple enough.
Yeah. And, they were offering a bunch of incentives, but their retail price is $3,000 a year, and that's every year. So 10 years down the road, you'll have invested $30,000 in that camera, which is a $5,000 camera. So, and that is great. It's a great service. But if your away teams do not have that, that gets pretty expensive for just your home games. And so that's on our radar. We expect to have something in place. The latest developer that we just hired has his expertise in building cameras and the software for the 3D. So we expect that to be available through Quick Cut in the very near future.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else have any questions? Does Iowa have conference pools, league pools? So
we used to, but we now have switched it to everybody. It has access to all film.
Okay, no matter what level.
Yeah,
correct.
Todd, this is Todd.
I love that, guys. I love that.
Thanks, like I said, the cooperation between, from the Athletic Association standpoint, I mean, we're just kind of the mediator aspect of things here to help with film exchange. But with communication with the Football Coach Association, working with them, we actually just have one large pool of 332 teams in that pool. So again, if Drew Clevenger on the line here is a coach at a Class A school, if he wants to, he's heard that Paul is doing something cool at Norwalk as a 3A school, or he wants to see what somebody's doing at a 4A school and learn and educate and learn more about something, then he can, as long as he exchanges his video, he can go in and watch all 166 games that previous week that were played. So we feel that is a positive for our coaches to help them. Sure, they can still go to clinics and learn things, but they can watch what Drew can watch what Coach Patterson or Coach Wilkins doing, even in the 8-player standpoint. And if he wants to then to call them up and pick the brain for a while, we feel that's an important aspect. So that is a huge undertaking, but our schools are supportive of that. So it is, a heavy burden early on, but we would have to get, pool and I don't know what's going to happen here. I mean, I know I've had schools, Todd, have talked to me about your program. I don't know. Well, Paul and Brian Wilkins on the call here too. He's the head football coach at Newell Fonda, and he's the executive secretary of the Football Coaches Association. I think probably their biggest fear is whether or not somebody decides to go to Quick Cut and people decide to stay Huddle. Film exchanges, in football is one of the biggest exchanges there is in all of our sports. I just know they probably want to be assured somehow that I can get their film, they can get my film, whatever. And then I'm kind of the intermediary where I want to try and get as many films as I can because I use them for educational purposes. I have football crews that want to watch the game that they just did on that Friday night, and they want to be able to evaluate themselves. So from my standpoint, that's a question for you and I, Todd, later down the line of how can I make sure that football crews can get games as well too. So that's kind of where we're at regarding the pool is concerned. So in other sports, again, going on and I think Joel Sullivan was on the line here. He must have had to hop off, but he's the huddle coordinator for the CIML, which is basically our largest 19 schools for the most part. And so a lot of them have the platinum contracts with Huddle because they'll have not only football, but they'll also have volleyball, and they'll have boys and girls basketball, and they'll have wrestling.
Mhm.
And so for some of these schools too, I don't know, I can't speak maybe for Drew and Brian, but I'm sure Paul at Norwalk, they probably have Huddle for other programs as
We
well.
do have a all-school deal,
Mhm.
Todd.
So, yeah, so there's that package. I see Drew shaking his, nodding his head too, that they have it for other sports. So maybe is there a little bit? Can you talk about how that maybe would work? I know we want to stay specific to football, but that's obviously going to be a key too for
Oh, absolutely.
their athletic director. Al at Norwalk want to know, how's this going to affect my basketball programs? I know you talked a little bit about other sports, but how's that going to work with them as well from those sports?
Our basketball is much better than Huddle, and we offer a few different stats that are more in line with what colleges are looking for as well. 3 different particular stats, but we do offer an all school package, which is either 7 varsity sports or 10 varsity sports. And so we have every sport available. I don't know if field hockey is big in Iowa or hockey.
It
Okay.
is not.
It is
Okay.
not, no.
And how about water polo?
No.
Okay,
No.
so those 3 are going to be developed yet. Their water polo's here in Florida, but up in the Northeast.
We don't have enough horses. We don't have enough horses here in Iowa in the pool anyway.
So we do offer a discount for that all school package as well, and be more than happy to throw some pricing your way once we're done. And we do have on our radar to build before this season is a pool where Huddle users can use it for free. So if somebody's insistent on staying with Huddle, they could use the Quick Cut League pool or the state pool in your case. And by the way, I'm impressed that you guys have been able to move that through. I run into coaches all the time that they'll say, I don't want my film out there. And I'm like, well, are you using Huddle? And I said, your film is out there. Everybody has your game, but they live in this world that they think nobody has their game film. And so having a state pool, I think is a huge benefit for coaches to be able to look at film. And, all the points that you said, I've been trying to push that in other states as well. So we have every sport available. We have stat breakdowns for all of those sports. And then we have the ability to have league pools in all of those sports. So football is typically the only one that would do a league pool, but there's some areas that will do a basketball league pool.
Coach Wilkin, you're on the line. Do you have any questions?
Todd, is this, I mean, we have 8-man football here in the state of Iowa. Is this applicable, the stats and all the reports and all that stuff? Is that applicable to the 8-man game, or is this just 11-man game?
No, we've built a platform just for 8-man football. Are you guys playing on a 100-yard field or an 80-yard field?
80-yard field.
So we built a platform for an 80-yard field. That was one of the complaints we heard, that stats were all messed up with Huddle when you try to play 8-man or 6-man football. And so we built an 80-yard field so that your stats can be accurate.
Okay.
Coach Clevenger, do you have any questions?
No, I think I'm good. I guess maybe this would be one. Where are you guys most active? Are you most active in Florida right now in terms of use?
I would probably say Alabama, Georgia, Florida are our 3 biggest states. I'm located here in Central Florida, grew up in Wisconsin, and trying to push it in the state of Wisconsin too. So that way I get to go back and see my parents and brothers. My brother's being inducted into the Hall of Fame first weekend in June. So I was hoping to use a little name recognition. He coached for football for 26 years, but it hasn't worked so far.
Okay, so side note, Todd, where are you from?
I grew up in Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Waukesha. Where did you go to high school?
I went to Northwestern Prep in Watertown, Wisconsin.
Okay. I went to Holy Name Seminary.
Okay.
I graduated in 1992, grew up in Judah. Not that that makes a difference to
Nope, I know.
anybody else online, but we played Watertown Northwestern Prep when I was
Okay.
in high school.
All right. We
Catholic
won-
Memorial. Some of the kids that I went to college with went to Catholic Memorial in
Okay.
Waukesha.
Sure.
It's a small world, isn't it, everybody? So it's kind of cool. So does Andy, what's your role with Quick Cut, or just to talk a little bit about what or how would we, if our coaches were to be involved with you, or what is your aspect of things here? So
Yeah, so nice to meet you guys, by the way. I didn't get to introduce myself. I couldn't see everyone, so I thought it was just me on the line. But I represent y'all's state. I'm from Texas currently. I've been with Quick Cut since December, so it's been great ever since. And we've continued to develop and grow, which has been awesome. And I'm a sales representative, so if you guys have any questions about getting started on a free trial, price points, wanting to bring on more coaches or different sports, I can definitely help you out there. And if we need another meeting, if you guys wanted to do basketball, I'm always here to help as well.
all right. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So
One item that I didn't bring up yet is support. So we offer 24-hour support on the weekends and then normal business hours. You can pretty much get a hold of us by phone or by email, and we're going to answer you guys immediately. So it's during the football season that we offer that 24-hour support on the weekends.
So is that your sales team behind you there, Todd? The two ferocious.
I have a German Shepherd, and we usually have 2 to 3 dogs here every day at work. So
I don't know if that was the intimidation team or whatever. So
Yeah, you're making my dogs go crazy too.
we also have an onboarding team. So when a school signs up with us, we give an extra 20 hours of storage for life once that school goes through onboarding, and we'll help you understand the whole platform before the season starts so that you're comfortable and know all the features, and it cuts way down on our support calls once we do the onboarding. That's why we're giving everybody 20 extra hours of storage for life. Are you guys having any kind of coaches clinics this year, or are those on hold?
We had our virtual clinic here several weeks ago, and then we also had an in-person clinic that usually is later in the spring. We just had that last weekend.
Oh.
So our clinic time is gone at this point in time. And as you deal with humans, right? You know that change is hard, and it really is difficult for us to do this. And so what we're going to end up doing is having a discussion about how to roll this out, as an option, and then going to have to try and make a decision from there. And of course, just like every decision, right? You're going to get the people who are going to sit back and wait to see what happens. You're going to get those that are all in, and then you're going to get the ones that want to complain about everything that's going on. I can tell you from our end, I am a huge Huddle supporter just from what they offer. However, I don't like the $10,000 a year that we have to pay to them. I would like to be able to spend that in a different fashion. So that's definitely something that we're going to have to talk about and roll this out as far as an option.
Mm-hmm. I completely understand. We're creatures of habit. So change is always a challenge for some, and probably the majority.
Right.
Well, and I think, Todd Tharp will probably agree with this, that we maybe had probably our least number of complaints in Huddle Exchange this year. And maybe Todd, maybe you received more than I did, but I didn't have near as many this year, and are we finally getting our people trained to kind of go through this? I don't know. That's a concern I have, Todd.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. We offer a league pool, and it works the same way. So the convenience that Quick Cut has over Huddle, we will have a league pool that can be used by Huddle users at no cost. Whereas Huddle, will not offer a league pool that Quick Cut users can use for free.
So probably, guys, I mean, the worst case scenario here is, you know, again, and I don't know, Todd, if you've had anybody from Iowa, and it's not important, but if you, I don't know if you had anybody from Iowa right now that has, taken you on as a subscription right now. But I think probably, the concerns, I think, is if we get, we have 5 schools, 10 schools, 15 schools, whatever, that decide to go to quick cut. We have, 310 that stay where they're at. I think there's probably just that apprehension, nervousness of how am I going to get the film one way there. So, whatever happens, that's going to have to be a key part that Paul and Brian and myself will have to educate and explain to our coaches that, whatever one you go to here, there's still the exchange is still going to happen, between, the two, because I said, I cannot tell somebody that they have to go to quick cut. Paul can't, Brian can't, I can't.
Well, you could, but
I could. Well, I don't know if I could even. I could, we could emphasize it saying, whatever. Maybe we'll add a point to their RPI system or whatever if they go to one system or the other. But I can't require them. I can't even require them to exchange video for the most part. I mean, if we have a school that is, negligent in exchanging their entering theirs, that's something that gets passed on to the Football Coaches Association, and they have an ethics committee that deals with it. So like I said, I have no power over schools regarding video exchange is concerned. It's a courtesy aspect, and I think it's just our coaches understand the importance of it and the ethics and the morality involved with it in getting it out for the most part. So that's probably, I'm sure from everybody's standpoint is, that hybrid that we'd have of a handful of schools here, there. And I don't know if there's an answer or solution to that, but like I said, after we're done here, like I said, Paul and Brian and I will, have to, get together and talk about how to properly roll this out. Again, I know you said, Todd, you have some information. If you can email that to me that I can, send out, particularly to this group here. We have several other coaches that unfortunately, like I said, with prior commitments, were not able to be here, but I want them to be able to listen to this as well too, and to be able to ask questions, because they are, the folks on our advisory committee that, help shape some of these aspects of things. So, but I just, like I said, appreciate the time and, to touring us through this for the most part. So.
Yeah, thank you for your time and just the opportunity. And I wouldn't expect this to be easy or rushed. And so we're here to help. And if we can save schools money across the board in every sport, would love to be a part of the Iowa Coaches Association. We feel we've got something special here, and we're excited about what we have to offer. And we're going to keep plugging away. So if it's not this year, hopefully we can entertain it the following year.
Nanny, do you have like an idiot's guide to quick cut, like simple little things that would help us navigate through like similarities and differences to Huddle that we can send to our board of directors for the IFCA and at least start to educate them for us to be able to figure out a way in which we want to try and roll this out to our coaches.
Yeah, we have a bunch of videos on YouTube tutorials, and we're constantly building out more as we update our platform. The whole player grading system will be done here in the next couple of weeks, tutorials for that. We also have an in-depth knowledge base where if anybody, can search questions and see written articles about every part of our platform.
We have a few PDFs too, just like side-by-side comparison, a few things that stand out to us that Todd can share with y'all as well to send out.
I like that Southern y'all there. So.
Oh yeah, I know. I knew y'all were gonna catch it.
Well, Paul or Brian or Drew, any other questions? I know maybe some of you guys got to get into class here. in the Central Time Zone. Any final questions here before we, like I said, talk afterwards? Like I said, Todd, if you can send me, once you get the link, if you can send me the link to this recording, I'll make sure that it gets out to the folks that could not be on this meeting. Would be appreciated. So.
Absolutely. Well, and feel free, if your questions pop up later on, you'll have my email address. Feel free to reach out to either Annie or myself, and be more than happy to answer questions for you.
Absolutely.
Thank you too.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
your time.
Thank you.
All right,
Very much
take care.
appreciate it. We will be in touch soon.
All
Thank
right.
you, Todd. Thank you,
Bye
Annie.
now.
You bet.
Bye.